Hey everybody, this is herculespetix, founder, curator, docent, and gift shop employee of the herculespetix Academy of Comic Book Studies. Today we're going to continue our scholarly examination of Batman by Doug Moench and Kelley Jones. We're up to number 526 through number 528. And these are some great issues, more about the art than the writing. Doug Moench isn't firing on all cylinders on these comics. They're better than a lot of mainstream comics of the time, but still not his best work. But, man, the art. And to start off, though, we have a guest issue. And, if you've watched these videos before, a lot of the guest issues I got rid of years ago. They were like Edward Barrero or Burrito. Just these like kind of artists that weren't that good. But this is a fill-in issue. You could totally, read all of this run without having this issue. But it's J.H. Williams III art. This is some early J.H. Williams III before he was, hot shit Promethea artist and many other things. Sandman. And, God, this guy's good. He's not like Kelley Jones, interesting good. Just really just spot on, just great comic art. Not reinventing the wheel, but just stellar stuff. J.H. Williams, interestingly enough, started at Milestone. And, he definitely was really good. His Death Wish miniseries, but not nearly as good as he became just a few years later. He kind of came to prominence at DC with that Chase miniseries. Well, it wasn't a miniseries, it got canceled. I think it lasted 8 issues. But, man, right out of the gate, or slightly out of the gate, he was way better than so many mainstream comic artists. And you'll see it in here. But we do have a Kelley Jones and John Beatty cover, which is fucking great. God, I love all these amazing shots of Batman. Just each one is just iconic, It's like Kelley Jones is so good at that. Just the perfect pose. But I do love the way he draws Alfred, like so Bigfoot style. It's almost like very cartoony. But inside, we have J.H. Williams on pencils, Mick Gran inker. As inker. If you know J.H. Williams' art, almost all of his stuff is inked by Mick Gray. I don't know if those guys are like roommates or something, but pretty much Mick Gray always inks J.H. Williams III. So this one's called Constant Whitewater. And we do have a new Batmobile. Not as cartoony as the Kelley Jones version. I have a feeling that was an editorial edict. That they were like, come on, Kelley, that Batmobile looks like something Donald Duck would drive. I fucking love it, that design. But this is more just, not cartoony, just a cool Batmobile. And, God, he's so good. So this is almost like a callback to Nightfall, where when Batman got his spine broken, basically Batman's running himself ragged. That's why it's called Constant Whitewater. He's trying to get back to basics. So it's all about just going on a patrol every night and stopping low-level crime, which I always thought was just silly. Like, if you're Batman, go after the CEO of a corrupt health insurance company that is ripping off millions of people and killing them because they won't give insurance to you, even though they should have. Cops can handle muggers and thieves. But, that's just the thing of superhero comics. But this is some wicked action. J.H. Williams, even at a young age, such a good storyteller. A lot of times in comics, car chases are very kind of hard to follow. It's not like in movies, TV shows where it's a staple. Everything is so clear in his storytelling already. He really has it down. So we start off with Batman chasing this guy, some thug, some criminal, and in a car chase. So it's some pretty awesome action, actually. It's pretty, it's almost, you could picture this being filmed. It's very cinematic. Do you see what I'm talking about, J.H. Williams III? This is some of his earliest stuff. This is so much better than your average Marvel DC comic at the time. I mean, how many artists were drawing this great? You know, for standard monthly comics. I do kind of miss the Gregory Wright coloring. Maybe I'll mention him. Some guy I never heard of. Pat Garrahy colors. It's definitely more Batman-ish, you know, like more dark. Gregory Wright has all these beautiful primary colors, kind of bright. And this is like kind of a normal Batman comic, like kind of sullen coloring. Which fits Batman, you know. It's kind of weird, like some of these aren't even violent criminals. These guys are just breaking into a place, stealing liquor and cigarettes. Why should Batman waste his time? There's probably like 50 rapes going on right now, and murders and muggings, like violent crime in Gotham, while he's taking time out to stop these guys from stealing some liquor and cigarettes. I'm sure the store's insurance would pay for it. It's basically a victimless crime. And just like, it's so weird. Why does Batman give a shit? I guess this guy in the front of the store is threatening this guy with a gun. But the other guys were just in the warehouse stealing some shit. Just by the posters on the wall, these political posters, we do see a little, you know, run through of the underlying plot of the mayoral race. But I mean, not much. Seriously, this issue is just a total fill-in, just like Batman kicking ass. And but it's a good fill-in because it adds to Batman's character and Alfred's character. So when Batman finally gets back to the Batcave, he's been running himself ragged for weeks now. That's why he's got the 5 o'clock shadow, you know? And Alfred explains to him this constant whitewater term, which I think is like a very dated term at this point. I don't think anyone says that anymore. I think it was corporate speak, meaning basically like nonstop. Just, you know, like downsizing. Everyone's got to work harder at every company in America, you know. Over the years, your average worker has to work harder and harder. And it just never stops. So constant whitewater. Joker's not in this issue. This is just a little flashback. Because Batman's talking about how he doesn't want to involve Robin. The Robin at this time is Tim Drake. And he's just like, still kind of has that guilt about Jason Todd's Robin being killed by Joker. And basically Alfred's saying, you can't do this all alone. You have these allies, these superior allies like Robin. You know, why do you keep shutting him out? Which Batman has been doing. Batman confronts this gang that are almost like copycat Black Mask organization. They all wear masks. Maybe they're trying out for the Black Mask mob. Kind of fun just seeing all these J.H. Williams interpret all these random looks on these guys instead of just your average mugger. And Batman's like getting his ass kicked. I mean, he's kind of in over his head. And then who should show up but Tim Drake, Robin. And Batman thinks to himself, it's like, Robin, my partner. It's almost like he finally realizes that Robin isn't this, you know, liability. He's actually an ally. I didn't mention earlier that when he was talking to Alfred, Robin was kind of hiding in the Batcave listening. And Batman admits to him, he says, I knew you were there. I was basically telling Alfred how I felt about using you, my guilt over Jason Todd, because I couldn't tell you myself. So it's an interesting character thing about Batman, is that he is emotionally closed off, even though he's, obviously so brave and constantly has no fear, and yet he can't just tell basically his adopted son that, just confront him and say, this is why I haven't been using you. He knew Robin was there, so he basically unloaded to Alfred, knowing that Robin would hear and get the message. So they come to this nice understanding, and Robin says, I like operating by myself, too. I have my whole other superhero career. But, don't freeze me out completely. Every now and then, we can team up, and Batman agrees. He says, yeah, you're right. I do like how J.H. Williams continues the, kind of the coming attraction panel. Let me actually check something. Did he do the opening? No, he doesn't do the Kelley Jones, opening panel of just showing a cool image of Batman. And then we got the letter pages. Pretty good issue. I really like J.H. Williams III a lot, but not as much as I like Kelley Jones. So now we got Kelley Jones back, 527. Really striking cover. Pretty grotesque Two-Face. I don't think I've ever seen him that bizarre. It looks like John Beatty's inking all the covers now. I think for a while it was just Kelley Jones doing pencils and inks. Oh man, see, this is what I'm talking about, the intro panel. Once again, we see Batman out on patrol. Look at this cape. That's fucking ridiculous. You can't even see his body. It's just like this crazy cape. It's like taffeta or something. So once again, Batman's beating up low-level criminals who probably just trying to get some money to feed their families. But luckily, billionaire Bruce Wayne is there to stop this from happening. But God, I don't care how ludicrous Batman is. Just almost every panel is a money shot. All these great poses and the wrinkles on his cape. I mean, so fantastical, but so beautiful. Once again, too, I just want to point out Greg Wright's coloring. I really like Greg Wright's coloring, especially on this. So there's the new Batmobile. You couldn't see it as good before. It's still kind of kooky. That's a weird car, but not nearly as zany as that first Kelley Jones model. So now we're at the Arkham Asylum, and Two-Face escapes. God, so much Michael Golden in this stuff. I think it's getting more pronounced. Once again, look at that. That's just a beautifully designed panel. So Two-Face has gotten like his psychosis, I guess, kind of changes. Sometimes he just picks the evil side, where he's just a gangster. But every now and then, his Harvey Dent side comes into play, and he becomes this vigilante. And I guess there was this case. I'm sorry, first I should mention that he breaks into his old apartment. He has a new tenant, and he just kills him. Cold-bloodedly kills him. So even though he's like a vigilante now, but he's also still a psycho. And he finds his old files behind some wall paneling that he hid there years before. These are the cases that he never cracked as a DA. And they're still festering in his brain. Look at that interesting Kelley Jones business going on here. Almost reminds you like when, like Frank Miller when he did the Sin City stuff. And then, of course, 5 different artists copied it. His like Kelley Jones almost version of that. Interesting highlights and stuff. Oh, God, I gotta shut up about this. But like all of these things with Batman and his cape just looks so good. It's almost Mike Mignola-ish right there. So, Batman, of course, does some detective work and figures out what Harvey Dent's up to. I love this flashback where we see old Batman. Like, this is like early Batman career. There's no yellow circle around the bat. And look how he draws him, just totally different, like stocky. Actually, his arm looks like an obese man's arm. It's a very weird interpretation of Batman. Look at his ears are all tiny, which Kelley Jones does not do that normally. But I guess he figures when he was younger, he had a different costume. Yeah, so different. His cape is not insane. It's not ridiculous. Just a normal cape. This flashback is about when Harvey Dent was, normal before he became Two-Face. And how he wanted Batman to, help him basically break the rules. There's this guy, I know he's guilty, but I can't touch him. There's not enough evidence. Batman, will you help me? And Batman says, no. I don't do that shit. Even though he does when it's him. So it's kind of weird. So I guess there's this guy, Maroni, this gangster. He's the one that got away. This is who Harvey Dent, Two-Face is gunning for. That flashback also kind of reveals why Two-Face hates Batman so much, because he feels like Batman betrayed him. And that's why over the years he's tried to kill Batman so many times. And this kind of interesting panelology here. So I guess there's this other guy he's gunning for, this guy who owns a carnival, Jermiston Lockhart. And he flips his coin. I don't know if you know Two-Face's shtick. He has a coin with a scarred side and a normal side. And he flips it to judge anyone's fate. So he actually, it's the non-scarred side, which means he's not going to kill Jermiston Lockhart. He's going to free his captive. The reason why he's so interested, well, quote-unquote captive, in the Freak Show, there's this Schism, the Skinner twin, who is literally a Two-Face. Kind of implying that, Skinner is basically a captive there. We have a little political stuff with James Gordon's wife. Was Sarah? Is that her name? I think Sarah Gordon. And even though Sarah Gordon's reluctant, she consults Batman. Look at that brooding Batman there. That is amazing. Batman basically doesn't hide the fact that he'd rather deal with Jim Gordon than her. I like how he pulls the same shit on her that he does with Jim Gordon, where she's talking to him, and she turns around, he's gone. I think someone in the letter pages mentions, yeah, I like Kelley Jones, the way he drives that Batmobile, but how come the Batmobile, the wheels never touch the ground? Every time you see the Batmobile, it's just totally hovering over the ground, except I guess one panel here. Once again, total caricature, cartooniness, this character here. Look at him. It looks like he could be in Toonerville Trolley or something. So Two-Face confronts Schism, the Skinner twins, and he basically says, I want you to kill Lockhart. I'm giving you this choice. And this Skinner twins, one side is good, Cal, and the other side's kind of an asshole, Mal. And they always argue and they hate each other. Well, basically Mal hates Cal. Cal is just a pretty nice guy. He's just like, leave me alone. Why are you being mean? So Lockhart has these two compatriots. And apparently years ago they killed this guy, Lockhart's uncle, who owned the circus. Lockhart wanted to take it over. He, with the strong man and the knife thrower's help, I think his name's Dagger, they killed his uncle and took over this, and Lockhart took over the circus. Once again, it's a totally different style here used for Batman's face there. So Batman's investigating at the carnival / circus, and Dagger attacks him, and the strong man does as well. So Batman's got to kick some ass, which he does, as Batman is wont to do. So then Two-Face shows up, though. Well, first Lockhart shows up, with a gun aiming at Batman. But then Two-Face shows up, and he's holding the Schism as a hostage. He basically thinks it's going to stop Lockhart. He says, either you drop your gun or your star attraction gets it. Another nice coming attraction panel. And 528. I gotta say, like a lot of I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but a lot of the letter writers still, after all these issues, who write in saying like, you gotta get rid of this Kelley Jones guy. His art's atrocious. They don't like his, cartooniness and stuff. They don't get it. They'd rather see Jim Aparo or, whoever, Graham Nolan. But I gotta say, this is kind of a little much here. Look at Batman's face. It's just like, talk about a Poe face. He's just like, meh. It still overall looks great, though. Still really nice art. Oh, this is a beautiful splash. Look at that. That is amazing. So now we got Two-Face Part 2, Schismed Faces. We start right where we left off. So we got this showdown going on. Lockhart basically says, I don't care. He doesn't. He's a piece of shit. He's totally a sociopath. He's just like, go ahead, kill him. So Batman basically says, let Schism go, Harvey. Settle with me. I should have mentioned this earlier. I forgot. The way Lockhart killed his uncle was he basically opened up the tiger cage, and the tiger killed his uncle. I gotta say though, what the fuck is this? It's supposed to be a lion, but it looks like something from Barsoom, like John Carter would ride this creature. Doesn't even look like a lion. I like the way he draws Lockhart, like, totally looks like a sleazy guy. That's a nice Two-Face. His bad side. So Dagger throws a knife at Batman. Batman catches it in his hands. Super cool. I like how he caught it just in time, where it just kind of pierced his forehead a little and drew blood. And then the lion is released. And the lion goes right for Lockhart, because Lockhart's an asshole, probably mistreated this lion. And Batman tackles the lion, because, he doesn't want anyone to die, even the villains. Once again, look at this great, this is like almost Frazetta-ish, I meant to say. Just oh man, just beautiful stuff. Even though that lion doesn't really look like a lion still. So Batman faces off against this lion. Oh, look at that. He's like Nosferatu. And then this clown shows up. Sorry, I have to say this with a straight face. Giggles the clown. And he pacifies the lion. He's friends with the lion. Once again, Kelley Jones gets totally cartoony with him. And Giggles explains to him that he knew about the whole, Lockhart killing his uncle. He knew about the whole thing. But he didn't tell the cops at the time because he didn't want to lose his job. This is all he knows. He's an old clown. And he was like, yeah, if they put Lockhart away, this circus probably would have just been put out of business and I'd be out of work. But he says, I'm ready now. I will. Once you take care of these guys, I will testify against them. Man, look at this cape action here. So dramatic. It all looks so wicked cool, though. So Batman confronts the strong man and very quickly just knocks him out. Kicks his ass. So Two-Face has still got Schism hostage. He still wants him to kill Lockhart. Oh, guys, I know I sound like a broken record, but come on. That's so fucking awesome. This one's a little silly with the cape. It looks like more taffeta. Here's more of that cartoonist for the clown, for Giggles. So Two-Face knocks out Giggles. And then we see Dagger again. There's a lot of plot crammed into it. I guess Doug Munch always does that. He really, crams a lot in every issue. And Doug Munch draws it all beautifully. Now Batman takes care of Dagger. Puts Dagger and the Strongman both in a cage. And then the big epic finale happens in the big top. Two-Face has got Schism tied up to this post. Oh man, that's beautiful right there. Just so you're not confused, Two-Face put on clown makeup on his good side here. That's not Giggles. So Two-Face shoots Batman, and Giggles actually thinks Batman's dead. We all know Batman has Kevlar armor. And we learned from the Dark Knight that if you shoot him right in that thing, that's metal plated. That's why he has a target on his chest. This is so weird. His line of dialogue here. Batman says, present company excluded, Giggles. Never trust a clown at midnight. That must be a reference to some book or song, I imagine. Doug Munch does that a lot. And so Two-Face's Schism is still tied to the post. And Cal finally wrests control from his shitty brother Mal and says, we got to do something. This isn't right. We got to stop Two-Face. And all of a sudden, it's revealed. Nobody knew this. They have a third arm, just like they have a third eye that they share. There's a third arm right in his chest that reaches out and grabs Two-Face by the neck, allowing Batman to knock the gun out of his hand with a batarang. And Two-Face, which is ridiculous, he's like, Batman, but you're dead. So you shot Batman once. You really think Batman's dead? You've done much worse to Batman over the years. And he's always comes out alive. But he's so shocked. And once again, that is fucking cool as hell. Look at that Batman. That's very Wrightson-esque. And so then the lion shows up again. I forgot to mention Lockhart is tied up as well. And the lion just rips into Lockhart. But then they drop a net on the lion. Because, Batman doesn't like people getting killed. Even if they deserve it. So I like how it says, Harvey Dent will finally obtain his conviction, even though, he's the bad guy. But he did serve justice. If it wasn't for Two-Face, this guy would have just gotten away for it for the rest of his life. Gotten away with his uncle's murder. And Batman basically commends Schism for doing the right thing. He gives him some advice, basically. It took courage. Never be afraid to face the mirror or the world. Bye, Mr. Batman, he says. And that's the end. Except for the beautiful little teaser panel, which I can't wait to read. Poison Ivy's next, guys. So I hope you join me in a week or so. Oh, I'm sorry, it'll probably be longer than that. But pretty soon, we'll get to see that Poison Ivy confrontation. Somehow I lost a comic. Oh, here we go. So there you go, guys. Hope you liked it. 526 through 528 of Batman. Continuing the wonderful Doug Munch, Kelley Jones run. And this time with an extra little treat of J.H. Williams III art. A very young J.H. Williams III. Still very good. Hope you guys like looking at these. I love looking at these again. It's been so long. I don't think I've really reread these since, whatever. I bought them in the 90s, and I was reading them. And they're even better than I remember. I appreciate Kelley Jones' art even more so now. So I hope you're enjoying them as much as I am. And I hope to see you next time here at the Herculespetix Academy of Comic Book Studies.